Germs. We all hate them, right? Well, in fact, Howard Hughes, the billionaire aviator, motion picture producer, and business tycoon, spent most of his life trying to avoid germs. Toward the end of his life, he considered his darkened hotel room where he lay naked germ-free. He protected his feet with tissue boxes and burned his clothing if someone near him became ill.
Okay, that might be just a little bit extreme. But did you know that some of the dirtiest things that you do touch every day are in your kitchen? From salt and pepper shakers to the knobs on your stove, germs are hiding in the most unexpected places.
These are the spots in our kitchen we expect to be filthy. Trash cans and floors, refrigerator handles, sinks. Experts say the sink is the dirtiest place in the kitchen, and your sponge is the dirtiest thing in the sink.
Keeping a house clean with 6 people in it is impossible. What a mess.
Lisa Lee Kelly is constantly wiping up messes.
Honey and peanut butter and...
2 of her 4 kids are home.
Eat your orange, buddy.
Sticky might be the best way to describe their life, which is why Lisa Lee agreed to test how germy is something that's meant to keep us clean.
I can't say I've ever cleaned the soap dispenser. That's pretty gross.
There's some little crevices and things.
So her dispenser and 2 others went.
So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to touch that.
To biology professor.
I'm going to go ahead and just swab everything.
Felix Villarreal.
There's some little crevices and things.
He's going to find out what's growing.
Really good coverage.
Where you'd least expect it. After incubating a day and a half.
So we're going to open these up now.
It's time to come clean.
Help Mama.
And not surprisingly, Lisa Lee's big family wins the prize for dirtiest dispenser.
And you can see there's a lot more on there.
It looks disgusting. Each shape and color represents a different type of bacteria. In fact, a global hygiene study found 2 out of 3 kitchen soap dispensers were contaminated with millions of bacteria, including E. coli and feces.
So you can see there's a lot of organisms.
But the professor says these germs aren't likely to make you sick unless you leave them an opening.
As long as there's no cuts or breaks in your skin, the skin is a very, very nice barrier to them getting into your body.
I could see how the kitchen soap dispenser would be germy, but you always wash your hands after you've touched it. So is it really that big of a deal?
People miss their fingertips.
Linda Cox works for the health department. She's been teaching people the right way to wash hands for 5 years, using a fluorescent lotion that simulates germs.
Okay, I'm going to do this like it's just a busy day.
Which is typical because Linda says on average we only spend 3 to 4 seconds washing our hands, and it shows.
Look at your thumbs. Look at your fingernail beds.
Anything that glows under this UVA lamp, still dirty.
The germs can last literally up to 48 hours.
Her advice? Instead of worrying about what's on your soap dispenser, do more with what's in it.
So the key to getting your hands clean is friction. You got to work up a good lather while you scrub your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Now, if you need a little help figuring out what 20 seconds is, hum the happy birthday song twice. And by the way, experts say water temperature doesn't really matter.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it had to be hot. No.
I did too. How about that? Well, something that really does matter is that what germs you don't pick up at home, you may pick up at work. Now think about it. The close proximity of so many people working together, often in confined spaces and with limited access to fresh air, are all factors that could increase our risk of catching germs. Every time somebody sneezes, they're projecting germs 3 feet away. And once they land on a hard surface, they can live there for up to 24 hours just waiting for you to pick them up. So, where at work are those little buggers hiding?
Go, 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 especially in the newsroom. Lots of people on the run, going on the run, eating on the run, which means germs. So microbiologists find the germiest places in the office.
So what are we going to swab first?
The refrigerator, a leading suspect in just about any place. Armed with cotton swabs and petri dishes, researcher Doug Litwin hits the fridge, a food container used 24/7. High-traffic touch areas such as a printer, a keyboard, of course a telephone, plus the bathroom sink, where we should be using a lot of soap. After swabbing the mouse and a few other places, the dishes are incubated. 12 samples in all in just 20 hours. This is what happens.
And it grew, again, as a large kind of spreading colony.
Dr. Heidi Kaplan's #1 top offender, that bathroom sink in the men's room. Just to be clear, Worse even than number 2 offender, the nasty office fridge, because bacteria.
They grow well in wet, moist environments.
Next,
Either not professionally cleaned, so there were personal workspaces like a mouse, for instance, or the receiver and the earpiece of the telephone.
interestingly, the cleanest place swabbed was the door handle. It was number 12. Bacteria and viruses typically live on unwashed hands, briefly, some only for a few minutes, but can survive up to 3 days on hard plastic surfaces. More problematic, after you show signs of a cold or flu, generally you are contagious for 5 days, even if your fever and symptoms are gone.
You might be feeling better, but you may be able to transmit those flu viruses to people you work with or to your family.
But microbiologists want you to know that most bacteria are actually good for you.
In large part, what they do is they can protect you from some of the bad bacteria that are around.
And let's say you do catch some of that bad bacteria. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says one of the best things you can do to stop the spread of germs at work is to stay home when you are sick. Well, it seems like common sense, doesn't it, Jimmy?
It does.
But get this, a recent study by a workplace consulting firm shows nearly 60% of people go to work when they're sick.
Well, okay, we can probably both admit that we have done that as
Yeah.
well. But at the same time, Lisa, you got to understand it might not be work that is actually making you sick. It could be that little device that's glued to your hip, and you know I'm talking about your cell phone. It could be that that cell phone is what's causing you to make you feel like crud. Consider this. A new study says the screen of your cell phone is dirtier than your toilet seat.
As if you don't already have enough to worry about, did you ever consider that the flu outbreak could have started from that cell phone that you just can't live without?
I don't know if it started there, but it could be transmitted.
Tony Baker is the marketing guy for a company that repairs and replaces cell phones.
The cell phones and tablets can be up to 10 times as dirty and grimy and as much bacteria as a toilet seat.
Ew. The study he's talking about was conducted by a university microbiology professor. This tester shows how many parts per million of nastiness is on the toilet seat, and the phone is much higher.
Your phone could transmit the flu, it could transmit other viruses, obviously bacteria.
That's why Tony recommends cleaning your phone often, maybe even with Whoosh.
What we have here is Whoosh.
Non-alcohol, non-ammonia cleaner that won't damage your screen or other parts of your phone, which will just get dirty again, so you clean your phone early and often. And isn't it interesting that our phones are dirtier than a toilet seat? So speaking of toilets, do you wonder if people really drop their phones in the toilet?
Yes, all the time.
Okay, that's just nasty.
So if you are now sufficiently alarmed by the condition of your cell phone screen, there are some do's and don'ts. According to Yang on HowStuffWorks.com, don't use glass cleaner with ammonia. The harsh chemicals will damage an LCD screen over time. Don't use a paper towel, not even a wet one, because the rough fibers can scratch the display surface. Use a microfiber cloth like the one that came with your glasses. Don't spray anything directly on your device. Fluids and electronics do not mix. Lightly moisten a cloth and wipe it down. Captains suggest using a moist cloth with a 60% mixture of water to a 40% mixture of isopropyl alcohol. You can get that at any drugstore. Isopropyl alcohol evaporates quickly as it disinfects, making sure that none of the fluid actually gets into the circuitry.
How about that?
I think it's great.
That has my phone germs on it.
I'll use the other side.
Well, we're not done talking about dirt just yet. Let's focus on your dishes. But your dishwasher is supposed to take care of that, right? How annoying is it when it doesn't? Well, the problem may just be with how you're loading the dishwasher. Up next, the 4 secrets to spot-free dishes.
How about a spot-free floor? A little bit later on, we're looking for an easier way to clean, so we break out the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop to see if the bucket with the patented centrifugal dryer technology actually lives up to all the hype. Stick around. We are going to put it to the test. Delmarva Live will be right back.